Hi again. Come sit, come sit. It is me again, the legendary traveler. Pigs eat people. I know you know me from all my tales, but I'd like to tell you a tale, or continue the tale you might have heard from me. And today, I'll continue one for you, buddy. It's a kid who defeated a man who could obliterate his body, or could make it stronger. But either way, hope you like the tale. So, we begin our story with Deku after defeating All For One with a single punch. And then he took a sleep. Then he went home, relaxed, got a drink of water, took a cold bath because he just came in from space. And then Deku just... Alright, now... Deku would just hear the door knocking and say, "Come in." I'm just in the bathroom. And it says it's Shoto Todoroki. He'd probably say it's Todoroki. He's saying, "Oh, come in, come in, come in." And of course, Deku just might have forgot to lock the door, but he'll wholeheartedly say he so did not mean to leave it unlocked. Yeah, Chocho says, "Yeah, I just assumed he was cleaning his face, nothing else." But we both know that's cap. And then Deku, Todoroki opens the door, and instead of getting flustered or anything, he just sits right next to him, puts his hand in the water, and then they talk about how Deku defeated All For One with a single punch. And Todoroki would be saying, people on the internet have been calling you the savior from heaven. You know? Really? I'm assuming it means because I came from the sky and they didn't see me go flying upwards. Yeah. And then Deku gets out of the bath. Todoroki just moves out of the way, just dries his hand, and gives Deku the towel he was using. He just sat there while Deku got dressed. I think that's how a relationship works. I don't know, I get no bitches. But, back to what I was continuing my story. So, Deku just... and then just sits down, waiting for his hair to dry. And just turns on the news to see newscaster saying, "Kid comes from heaven itself to knock out the greatest evil the world has ever known. All For One." And then he changed the channel to another news station. Repeat, repeat, repeat. It's the same thing over and over again. And then Deku just turns to Todoroki and says, "It's pretty repetitive, honestly." Yep. Well, yeah, tomorrow's our agency, thanks. Okay. Oh, great. Great. I really didn't want that after, coming from space and actually burning up from the Earth's atmosphere. But okay. I guess I'll go to a stupid agency to get experienced. And Todoroki laughs because, you know, he's just the night boyfriend that laughs at all his boyfriend's jokes, even if they're horrendously bad. And now Deku just heads home. Heads home. He just falls asleep on Todoroki's lap. Well, first he lays down, and Todoroki just passes out. Yeah, they both just fall asleep on each other. Wholesome. And that is the and now Deku just wakes up. Perhaps Todoroki on the shoulder to wake him up. He wakes up, and they share a smooch, as you do, I guess. As I said, I get no bitches, so I would not know this. Okay, after Deku, does that, gets ready, and heads to school. So does Todoroki. He's not just gonna skip it to school day. And now Deku and Todoroki go to the class, and Deku gets an actual email on his phone from a guy named Biggest All Might Fan 1212 saying, "This is Sir Night-Eye of the agency, Sir Night-Eye, and I'd like to intern you at my agency." And Deku just takes it, because All Might's biggest fan, 1212, seems funny, so he joined it. Plus, the only person that actually he gave him an email. So it goes the address. You already know Deku was strapped already. He has his cane. He has two different canes. He has a cane that can retract and is plastic, and another one that's made of pure wood and metal. It's very expensive. And then Tsunade says, "Hello, you're blind. I couldn't have guessed that." Alright. Deku then rightly puts his hand in the right position, and Tsunade's like, "Huh." And then they shake hands. "So how are you seeing right now?" "It's my quirk. It gives me basically 365-degree angles and a wider distance of vision because I became blind. That's pretty cool." And then Tsunade says, "Impressive. But, for now, I'd like to see if you earn the title of an intern." And Deku's like, "Follow me." And they follow into his internship. And then Tsunade explains, "If you can touch me," and then Tsunade's eyes glow, "then I'll let you intern into my internship. But if not, then you leave. And Deku's like, okay. So Tsunade tries to, weave Deku. Deku just immediately clocks him with his staff in the leg and then touches his face. Okay. Deku swings, clocks his knee, grabs his face. It says, did I win? Yep. I'm impressed. So you did actually defeat All for One with just your bare fist. It wasn't just a ploy from the press. Yeah. Well, welcome to Serenade's internship. Thank you. Then they fist bump. And let's just skip, because I don't want to really... Let's just skip to the part where Mirio and Deku are... Jesus Christ, bro, comboed him to oblivion. But, minding that, they're walking down the street, and then Deku says to stop moving for Mirio, and then Deku keeps walking. So Mirio's like, what are you doing? There's something strange. So why are you telling me to back up? I am clearly the stronger person, so don't test me. Yep, so... And then Deku runs into Eri, and then... Eri's like, help me, because... That's... What... Is that what she said? I have no idea, I haven't read it. I haven't watched it in, like, a decade. I'm kidding, not a decade, but, like, 2 years. So I can't really remember it. Now Deku just, says, huh? And then he opens his eyes purposely to show the girl that he's blind, just to see her reaction. And the girl then gets very scared and concerned, because Deku can then see her body shaking with fear, because he assumes. And then this new guy comes up with a bird face. And he says, "Ha, sir." Right? And then the guy gets a bit surprised, but a bit not surprised, because he was a bit loud. But Deku sensed him like all the way down from the first part of he got to the alley. And he gets up and says, "Is this your little girl?" He says, "Yes." "Well, I'm a personal doctor of these kinds of things, and it seems that your daughter is hurt, and I would like to examine her." And he's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, is it because you're scared?" And then he snaps his staff into his other palm, and then his Conqueror's haki starts blaring. And then Overhaul gets a bit spooked, and then says, "No." And then Overhaul takes off his glove, expecting Deku to not notice, but Deku definitely noticed a thing removed from a person's hand. So then Deku just blitzes him, puts his hand next to his wrist, and then chops him right in the neck. But luckily for Overhaul, he eats that, and then smacks Deku away with a hefty kick. And then he goes flying, but Deku then armor coats his hand and then grips onto the thing, and just proceeds to pull out its blade, then hooking the staff to the hilt onto his back, and starts slashing at Overhaul. But Overhaul is, dodging it, and he's thinking, how is this blind man so fast? Because he doesn't see him as, the guy that one-shotted Overhaul. All for one. Because, the guy was, shrouded in smoke and was shirtless. And was, completely purple. And his hair was, like, slicked back because it almost burned off. And now Deku is, starts, hits him with the back of his sword. And then Deku cuts Overhaul's hand off. But luckily for Overhaul, he grabs it and immediately explodes it, then reattaches it to his other hand, and then goes to swing at Deku with his open palm. But Deku immediately armors his cheek. But for some reason, then his haki immediately explodes off of Deku, which then knocks him clean out. But luckily for Deku as well, so did Overhaul. Overhaul got knocked the back, and then he actually got knocked out clean. Sadly for sadly for Deku, Mirio wasn't close enough to him to where one of the villains of Overhaul ran up, grabbed him and Eri before she could run, and ran. So Deku's now knocked out cold in some rubble, so the guy can't see him either. And now Deku's fine. And Deku busts out of the rocks with a furious rage. Because he wants to know where that bird mask guy went. But it was Mirio just appearing after Deku. It's about like a minute long knockout period. And then Deku is completely furious, and then Mirio says, "What happened?" Because the whole alley is like destroyed, and he says, "I ran into Overhaul, and I couldn't get him. He blew away my haki like it was nothing." Haki? It's my quirk name. Don't mind it. We need to find that guy now. But he says, "We can't do that without informing the pro heroes." Fuck the pro heroes. We need to find that girl. She's clearly in danger. We need to save her now. And then, his hand starts bleeding from how hard he's gripping it. But luckily for uh, Mirio, he was able to calm Deku down enough to the point where he'd let go of his fist and say, "As long as she's safe, eventually, even though I wish I could just do it now, I'll hear you out. Let's go." And then Deku grabs Mirio's wrist and just starts bolting to Serenade. And then he explains that he ran into Overhaul and he was defeated. And he'd like to say that he's probably around this vicinity, and then points to a world map of all the people of where they've been looking. But it's actually, then he points into the completely wrong direction they've been looking this entire time. And then they move, and then they look around it, and then they find Overhaul's base. And then they go there to immediately, because they already have a warrant on them. And then, the big guy shows up, but Deku just immediately hops up, conquers Haki's hand. Well, armor Haki's, and then just clocks the man straight out. He's out. And then Deku just runs in. The guy with the wall quirk. Deku just keeps punching through the walls he keeps remaking. He's just bolting straight down the corridor like it's nothing. He still has a sword on his back too, so he just keeps running down these corridors. A guy in front of him, drop kick to the wall. Guy in front of him, and there's a wall behind him. Drop kick through that wall. There's 3 guys. Deku just pop, 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 and through a wall. Deku's just running through walls at this point. And then Deku finally breaks through the final wall to Overhaul. His entire body's fully coated in armor, in haki. But this time it's also coated in this red armor. It's terrifying. And, the guy that has the gun just immediately shoots at Deku, thinking Deku would not notice it. But Deku just catches that shit like it was nothing, crushes it, and sees there's blood inside it, and then just starts crushing it even more, and then just blitzes the guy with the gun, breaks the gun, and then just Yujiro Hama slaps the guy's eardrums closed, and then makes him go to sleep. And then overall gets scared because that guy he's so fast. So he just immediately grabs Eri and then just blitzes away. Mirror already got there because, he just followed the open walls. And then he found Deku. Getting, not even close to Mollywop. Bro was mollywopping overhaul. And it just keeps throwing him around. But luckily he's able to get Eri out of his reach just barely. Every single time. But then Deku just gets way more frustrated. And then his pure pressure just starts changing the terrain to armament haki. He just picks up a rock, turns it armament, and then just throws it at Overhaul. Overhaul every time he tries to break it, it just explodes. Yeah, and Peggy's just getting, winning the battle easily, but Overhaul is able to get to the unconscious body of the soldier, explode him, fuse him to him, and then he becomes boosted Overhaul, and then just punches Deku out of there immediately. And then he just tries to grab Eri, but Mirio shows up to block that grab. If you're wondering, Baku has it one for all. I didn't give it to Mirio for some reason. And then, since he never loses his quirk in this version, overall just starts losing, but until Mirio makes a mistake, and then just gets punched so hard, he just goes straight for a spike. But in a weird way of coincidence, Sir Night just got there, ran so fast that he grew muscles, and then took the spear into himself instead of getting Mario stabbed. And then he starts bleeding out, but he pulls himself off, and starts coughing out blood, and then falls over, unconscious for now. Then Mario starts crying out for him, so Mario runs towards, but instead of that, he sucks it up, runs towards Eri, saves her, and then he makes his quirk just so powerful. He just faces through the wall with Eri. He evolved his quirk just to save Eri. Now that's legendary material right there. That's what Deku does. Deku just takes him out. Well, yeah, and then Overhaul just, instead of going for Eri, he knows he can just go kill him later. He needs to take care of this Deku character, which Deku's back, no-shirted. Actually, he has his shirt on, but it's just floating behind him. Like, his entire hero outfit's ripped off, but, he has these two straps that are just floating behind him. And then Deku just starts... And his armor haki just turns pure red. Not pure, but, blood red. Because, he's bleeding all over the place. And then Deku looks at Overhaul with a determined look. Takes out his blade. And then the blade just gets also blood red. And then Overhaul just gets blitzed, cut in half. But luckily for Overhaul, he just turns into his big form, grabs Deku, throws him out. And then Deku starts flying outside the area. Starts parrying just starts blocking all of... And then Deku stabs Overhaul's hand and then just infuses his own haki into it. Then fuses. And then Deku just infects Overhaul with his Conqueror's haki. And then actually Conqueror's haki him. It was armament haki. And then Overhaul like loses feeling in that entire part of that muscle. And then he slams his slams his fist straight onto Deku. And it connects actually. But luckily for Deku, Overhaul didn't account for Deku being this determined, so he just lifts his entire fist up like it was nothing, and then just bolts, and then his armor haki just becomes square-like, like Kirogiri, Katakuri's, and then just pops him straight into the sky. Then Deku like squats, puts his feet like he then lops himself into the sky, and then Overhaul like shoots through a cloud, and then Deku hits him with a elbow straight to the brain. And Deku grabs both of Deku's head and Overhaul's head and tears it straight off. And then he starts tearing into Overhaul's skin. And then he pulls out his sword and just starts stabbing at him. He just keeps slashing, stabbing, ripping, tearing. He's bloodthirsty right now. You do not want to be in a room with this man, or he just make you go to sleep. Bro is on some demon crap right now. And then he just like puts his arm out. Looks like he's Shigaraki about to disintegrate you. Then grabs Overhaul's face and slams him against the then he slams Overhaul's mask into his at Deku's skull, which knocks him out. And then they both start falling to the earth. They start burning up on the atmosphere. Since Deku is still armament hokied, Overhaul burns up and turns into a charred corpse before they hit the ground. So they hit the ground, they get up, and then looks towards. And then Deku looks towards Overhaul, who's just a charred corpse. And then he crushes his head with his fist. Actually, he just grabs Overhaul's face and just squishes it. And then he gets up. He breathes in. And then breathes out. Alright. Well, afterwards, Deku goes home with Todoroki already being there. And then they're both sitting next to each other. And Todoroki puts his hand on him and tells him, are you okay? And Deku knowing he killed a man, not knowing. He doesn't know anymore. And then he cries a lot into Todoroki's arms. He doesn't matter if you're a mean person. He wished he could have just saved you from a situation, where he had to kill you. And he killed you, so now he feels that he doesn't deserve to be a hero because he killed a person just because he didn't like him. He doesn't care if he was a villain and the worst thing imaginable. Heroes just don't kill. He is Batman in this way. And then they just fall asleep on each other. And yeah. That is the end of the tale of a man who could turn his body purple. Hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe. Hit that post notification bell, because it helps me. It lets you know when there's a video out, and, you know, it gives me money to pay for my, the food I like to eat. Good day.